Hello everyone, my name is Gina Paulus and I am excited to welcome you to the Homebodies Fitness Show. Today I'd like to introduce Jamie and Chuck Freedman, a married couple who work out together. Jamie and Chuck have 2 young children. They have proven that it's possible to get into even better shape after kids than before. Later on, we will teach you how to include healthy meals even while cooking for a family. It is possible, and Chuck and Jamie will show you how it's done. So we have clients that I've had for 5 years now or so on the show. They work out together, usually after their kids have gone to bed or while their kids are in school. And today we're going to show you some different variations that both men and women can use to work out. So the first one that we're going to have is for Chuck to show us the plank with the moving plate. So that one, basically what you're doing is you're in a face down plank on your elbows and feet. And that's pretty much the basic version of the plank. Well, what we're going to do is take this plate and move it one side and the other side. So I'm going to let Chuck show us that one. This is a very advanced body weight exercise that works primarily your core strength. And it's a pretty cool party trick.
Party trick?
Yeah, well, definitely. You just get on the floor in the middle of a party and start doing this, and everyone will think you're the coolest thing ever. Very nice. You can see him shaking a little bit, which is perfect. That means he's working very hard at that exercise. Just do one more on each side, Chuck, and we'll be all set with that. Nice. That was great.
Thanks.
All right, so Jamie's going to show us one with her favorite piece of equipment that I think Chuck got her for the holidays this year, right?
Yes.
It's the bosu, and she's going to show us some crunches on there. Good. So this one works very similar muscles to that face down plank. I just want you, Jamie, to keep your chin off your chest a little bit more. You can make your legs a little bit wider apart. That's just going to make it easier to balance. Good. Just do about 5 more of those. So the bosu crunch is really good for your abs, and it's the hardest version of a crunch that there is. It's harder than using it on the floor, and it's also harder than doing a crunch on one of those big inflatable balls. So I'm really happy that Jamie was able to demonstrate that one for us. And she actually had, was it 1 or 2 C-sections? So she had 2 C-sections, and because of that, her stomach muscles really took a beating. So the fact that she's able to get to the point and do those is really great. So now we have another actually party trick one. And this is going to be for Chuck, the starfish side plank. Okay, so we're going to just start out with holding that one for him. So go ahead and show us that. So what you're on one hand, you're on one foot, and the name kind of describes what you end up looking like, which is kind of like a starfish. He's got his shirt looks like a starfish being yellow, but I don't know the pants, the gray, not quite, but so that's great, so that's awesome. Now some people, they can't do both sides on this. I'm not sure, have we done the other side with you?
Let's give it a try.
Let's give it a shot, okay. The worst that will happen is the starfish will take a little tumble on the floor. Okay, so one arm, yep, that's awesome. So basically what we're seeing here is the fact that he can do both sides shows that his body is very balanced from left to right. A lot of people have trouble with what they call their bad side, but it looks like he can do that very advanced move on both sides, so that's really good. All right, so going with the animal theme, we're gonna do penguin side step next. This is Jamie's favorite. For some reason, she just loves doing this one, so I try to include it in all of her workouts. Because it's nice to always have one that you like to do.
It reminds me of a penguin, so
right.
that's why I call it the penguin.
It's actually not really called penguin side step. That's just like a inside joke that we have. And I call it that name now to all my clients. Okay, so you can see she's got really nice straight legs. This one, even though it looks totally different than the starfish side plank, is working very similar muscles to that, which is primarily the hips and the obliques, which are the sides of the stomach area. So I'm just going to have her go back one more time back and forth because she's got such great form. We want to take a look at this.
Awesome.
The bigger the step you can do, the better, but you must keep locked legs at all times. And it's interesting because I've had Chuck try this one at different times, and for whatever reason, it doesn't feel so good to him. So he's tended towards more of the plank variations. So it's not to say that one's easier or harder than the other, it's just everybody does have different strengths, weaknesses, injury histories, and just different bodies. So it's important to be able to know how to adjust. So I would say of those two, you can either pick the side plank or the penguin. You don't really need to do both in the same workout. That would be overkill considering that they do overlap quite a bit. So we're going to go next to barbell bicep curl. And this is another example, so Chuck, you can go ahead and pick that up. We're gonna do the palms forward hip first. So he's gonna show us this. Now this is more of a direct arm workout, and with the barbell, this is another example where there's a preference. Chuck tends to prefer to work with the barbell. A lot of men like it, a lot of women don't. I really don't know why that is. It's just one of those things. So he's showing us the overhand grip, which is for the front of the arm. You can set that down whenever you're toasted there. So that's one way to do barbell bicep curls, and there's actually another way, which very few people know how to do, and that's with your palms this way. And you can hold off just a second before we show that one. That one, it actually works quite a bit of forearms, and the forearms tend to be neglected in weight training. They also are a very limiting factor for things like chin-ups and lat pull-down. People think it's their arms up here and their back, but a lot of times the first thing to go is actually your forearm and your grip strength. Forearm strength also helps quite a bit when you need to do things in daily kind of living, like I'm sure you've done tons of like yard work.
Shoveling snow.
So exactly, which I guess we're supposed to have a blizzard any day now here. So, and then even like setting up some of the kids stuff. Would you say like swing set, construction?
Oh yeah, just backyard
dealing
stuff.
with the yard. So the grip strength is really, really key. So why don't you show us a set of the overgrip biceps as well? There you go. That was fancy. I guess he had his Wheaties this morning.
And I like this.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, it's a lot more pleasing to pull up.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more accomplished and very unique to the barbell.
Right, because you can't really do that with dumbbells. So that's a good point. You can set that down. And Jamie's going to show us the bosu bicep curl. So this one works very similar muscles. It actually does a little bit more because it gives you some balance work. Jamie has really great balance. So she's going to stand on there. And it actually looks like your bosu has lost a little air at some point. So this might be harder for her than usual, but that's all right. She can tough it out. Sometimes when they deflate, when it's like a lot of temperature changes, they get a little bit deflated, but she's doing awesome. So this is forcing her, you can see her feet wiggling around. It's forcing her legs and her core muscles in her stomach to engage while she does the curl. Nice job, Jamie. Do a couple more of those. Very good. So this particular bosu has handles attached to it. They don't all have those, but I think if you're gonna buy one, I recommend getting the handles. You guys have been pretty happy with it, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we love
it's
it.
It's just a very versatile piece of equipment. And also, we tend to work out together a lot in the basement, but sometimes they want to just do a quick workout in the living room, maybe with their kids around, so it's nice to have something like this that you can keep not necessarily in a gym setting, but like wherever. You could have it in your bedroom if you wanted to. It's like totally fine to just have, and then you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's very small. Okay, so the next one we're going to go to is another barbell, and Chuck's going to show us the overhead shoulder press. Now, Chuck, we have the option of sitting or we can stand. What do you feel more comfortable with?
I can stand and do it.
Okay.
Sure, thanks.
We can't stand and do this at his house all the time because sometimes he hits the ceiling, but these ceilings are really high, so that'll be fun. So go ahead and give that a try.
All right. And that's one thing we worked on too, is picking up the barbell.
True,
Right.
because there is a technique to it, and I'll tell you that a little bit more about that soon.
Okay.
He's holding it from just above his chin, and he's pushing up overhead. Very nice. And he's making that barbell look very light, but it's not very light at all. He's just
not
that
light at all.
strong.
He's improved a lot
Very
too
nice.
since starting.
So
Thank
you can see that he picked it up evenly, and he used his legs. He bent them. He didn't try to just hoist it off the floor. There's also that technique of the one leg in the front is fine. Anybody, especially if you have somewhat of a history of back pain, you want to be extremely careful with how you pick up the barbell. It's better to use your legs, either this way or this way, as opposed to just leaning over it like that and doing it all with your back. So that's just a good safety tip for you with the barbell. So Jamie's gonna show us overhead press with the bosu. Very nice, Jamie. Now, Jamie, make sure your elbows move up and down a lot. Yes. Very nice. She's got really amazing balance.
And that's what I like about it, because it's multitasking.
Yes, and we had talked about the fact that sometimes she almost would rather do something that's even more difficult because it is more, I guess, interesting versus something that feels too easy and it almost is boring, I think.
Yes.
So, nice.
Awesome.
So it's almost like you're so distracted by having to balance on the bosu that it's like you almost forget you're working out.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's, I think, what she likes about it so much. So it is important to find what you like, and even like with me being their trainer, yeah, I mean, I tell them what to do, but I also want them to tell me, hey, I don't like this one kind of hurts my back, this one feels better to me. Because really, if you hate what you're doing, you're not gonna wanna stick with it. So, I mean, do you feel like that has been a big factor for you guys to be able to stick with it this long?
Oh, absolutely. And also, you make us want to do it. You don't want us to just say, forget it, I don't want to do it. Because there's some trainers out there that will just push you to the limit, and then you feel awful afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So have you ever gone through
Oh, yeah.
that?
Yes.
So
I think there's sort of, what you've taught us is there's a tolerable ache when you're first starting to do an exercise because your body's getting used to it and sort of preparing for the workout, but then there's a pain. And if that happens, we want to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the difference between bad pain and good pain, I guess. And it can be a difficult thing to figure out. But, like even we're all in our 30s, and it's like that's when I think when it starts, we really have to realize how to take care of yourself. Because, if you don't take care of yourself, you'll end up with all these injuries as you get older, and that's just, nobody wants to have that. So it's important to learn how to deal with that.
I think you mentioned it too when we tried to do the penguin.
Yeah.
That was actually really uncomfortable for me and left me with some soreness. So
Right.
it's good that you have such a great arsenal of other workouts to do that can address those areas if a certain form doesn't work for you. So I think knowing what's possible and what you could do to address those areas is great.
Yeah, and I've worked very hard over the years to make sure I do have that arsenal so that I can, work with people. So what you see today is kind of like a 5-year-long experiment of how to work out without being in too much pain and all that. It's still getting the results that we want. So the next one we're going to look at is a pretty fun one. This is potentially one you could do with your kids too, especially, they're probably getting to the age now where they can help you out with this. We're gonna do the sit-up toss with the medicine ball. So I will do that one with Chuck. You can just lie right on your back right there. So you need somebody to step lightly on your feet, and he's gonna sit up, and I'm gonna toss it to him, and he's gonna sit up and toss it to me. This is a 10-pound medicine ball. You can definitely start with a lighter one if you have to. And this is an explosive abdominal move. Let's just do 2 more. So the fact that he's sitting up and it's not like he's tossing it super far, but he is, nice. So he is kind of accelerating into the sit-up. And that is a more thorough workout for your muscles when you do that. And you tend to feel the burn the next day a little bit more. So actually you can stay right down there. I'm going to have you do the 1-arm medicine ball toss next. So go ahead and go on your back. All right, and pick an arm to start.
Do the right one.
We'll do about 10 on each side. Yep, so we're gonna throw with 1 and catch with 2. I've actually never seen the 1-armed medicine ball toss. I feel like I invented it. I don't know, maybe not, but I tell myself that. But I always like to think when we're doing something, what can we do next? What's the next step?
And this is one when you first suggested it, I did not think it was possible because up until this point we had just done the 2-arm.
Yeah.
I'm
Go ahead and switch arms. And especially anyone that's played a ball sport growing up and still today is gonna feel like the bad arm, as they call it, is just gonna be ugly. But he is a very good example of how you can become pretty even from side to side. And when he's finished with that, we're gonna have Jamie do the 2-armed one, which is typically the one I use. I only go to the 1-arm for the more advanced or the stronger people. Jamie probably could do it, but we're gonna let her show the 2-armed one too, just so that the beginning viewers at home can see. Now I do suggest when you first do this one to be very careful about the fact that the ball can fall on your face and hurt you. That has happened before to some of my clients. It falls faster than you expect it to. So you need to basically leave your hands in front of your face and make sure that you know how fast that ball is going to come down. So the idea with this one, you can just do a few more of those, Jamie. You want to keep the even pressure when you push, and you want to have form to it. Like she's got her elbows slightly apart, that's fine. Some people do the elbows here, but you don't want one arm up, one arm down. It's not like a basketball free throw. I mean, we're trying to keep everything even, just like you would on anything else. And they make it look really nice, and the form is really good. But I'll tell you, when a beginner tries it for the first time, it doesn't look anything like that. Plastic, and they'll drop the ball and everything like that. It's fine as long as you're not going to injure yourself. It takes a while to get up to the point that these two are at with it. So really with all of those exercises we've just covered, hits pretty much every part of the body in different ways. They're more dynamic, they're a little bit more balance oriented, so they're fun ones to include, and they make sure that you have what we call functional fitness, meaning that you're able to do things that like daily life stuff requires. Like it's not sitting in the Nautilus machine, pushing with your legs in a machine. You're like moving and catching and balancing, and it's all really good stuff, especially, how old are your kids now?
So almost 8, one boy almost 8, and
Yeah.
then a boy, he'll be 5 in July.
Yeah, so they're starting to get to the age where like it's just constant like running around activities. They'll probably start doing more like sport stuff.
yeah.
And I mean, if you can't keep up with them, you're gonna be in trouble, so.
And they're really rugged. So
Yes.
they like to jump on you and climb on you and pin you and wrestle.
Well, that's awesome. All right, guys, well, we're all out of time for today, but thank you so much for coming
course,
on.
thank
You did
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, see you next time.
Thank you.